hey, this is it. This is for you. You can enter anytime you want. You have the real-time insight. You can go inside, you can read, you can see for yourself. You have everything with us. These are the three main points that somebody that is working in sales needs to have.
The thing that you can only get from cold calling are those information.
If you leave your coffee on the table, it's going to be cold because you left it for so long. That's the same in the CRMs.
That's like the worst case scenario. That's why lead hygiene should always be on a high level.
I really do love my clients, I really love them. I don't want to lose them, so I would say cold call me.
Yeah. Woohoo! Okay. We are starting our second English-speaking podcast episode today with Anamarija as our guest. Welcome, Anamarija, to Dialing Out, the OB2B podcast. Today we're starting our first series with the topic being tools. What are we going to cover today? I'm just going to read it from the little script we have. Today we're kicking off our new series, Tools. In this series, we explore the must-have tools that help us work smarter, sell better, and generate high-quality leads. And what are we covering today, Anamarija? Do you have any idea? What do you want to talk about?
I got the preparation for this podcast.
Okay.
So today we are speaking about CRMs.
Oh, okay, CRMs. Then let's see what's there to talk about. What can we cover? We can maybe talk a little bit about how we used to work without having a CRM tool.
Yes.
How implementing CRM tools changed our sales process and the way we work. And anything else you want to cover?
Maybe the way that we are doing it now, maybe with our clients too, what it means for our clients. And let's see, let's start and then decide.
Okay, and I'm sure that our colleague Kim prepared a game for us to play.
Probably, yeah.
Good. CRM. What's a CRM?
Well, it's a tool for customer relationship management. That's the acronym for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's widely used in sales and in marketing to follow up the leads and deals, what is going on, to cover up the activities and everything, to make sure everything you have, it's in one place. Just in general, a tool that I don't think no one working in sales or marketing would like to live without. So it's a good topic, I would say.
Okay, will we name any names or are we just going to play an anonymous game? Yeah, but there are various types of CRMs on the market, web-based. Then you have some of them on-premise and stuff like this, but we basically or mainly work with web-based.
Yes, definitely. There are many types of CRMs that you can find, but it depends on the company. It depends on your needs. What do you really need the CRM for? For example, some companies use the CRM only exclusively for marketing campaigns, to collect the MQLs and to use that for marketing activities. The others are using that exclusively for sales. For example, we are doing that, using CRMs just for sales processes. And some of the companies, of course, are combining sales and marketing campaigns and everything. So whenever you have some marketing campaigns, you can take those leads, those MQLs, and push it to your sales team for them to cover the sales process and to continue something with those ones.
Okay. Years ago when we started, we didn't really have a CRM tool, and most of our clients, or none of them, had their own CRM tool. This has changed today. Like almost everybody has already something in use, but still sometimes we have the challenge or the opportunity to implement another CRM tool with our new clients. How that we manage our contacts and the companies we called 7 years ago?
Well, that was definitely something. I started almost 10 years ago working here. And during that time, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, is the same basically because we worked from the Excel sheets. And that was really something. At first, when I came, I worked from the Excel sheet. It was filled with companies that were of our interest. I called them. I started as a representative. I called them. I entered inside all of my activities, what I did, when I sent the email, and so on. So a lot of information inside. When we started with our first clients, when we started to have our first campaigns on the German market, we continued to use Excel, which was fine for what we could have at that moment. But we stumbled upon a lot of problems. When you have a lot of different information inside and a huge database inside, that can make things go really slow. You can sometimes lose your data, etc. But one good thing that I remember was always tweaking and thinking about how we can make this Excel sheet work exactly how today CRMs are working. So we created, our boss actually thought of how to connect in a separate sheet the KPIs. So we were able to track KPIs out of the Excel sheet, which was really crazy for that time. And today it's quite easier. You have everything inside. You just enter your data, you import the database inside, you create your own activities. Most of the CRMs they do have their own like conversion and everything. You can see the numbers inside. So that's like, I don't know, easier definitely than 10 or 7 years ago. And today, as you mentioned, sometimes we do stumble upon some clients that do not have the CRM. We have to take that responsibility over, which is completely fine. We have the solution for that too. We are exchanging information from our solution. So that's working also pretty good. Good.
But still, that was a quite sophisticated Excel sheet that we had for the project.
It was,
basically very similar to today's CRM tools. But I think the main thing why we actually started using CRM tools was, Excel being too big and too slow.
Yeah.
And the other thing was transparency.
Transparency, definitely.
This way you could just log in the same CRM tool, and the client that's not sitting with us in the same office can always see what we are doing at the same moment. Because you mainly could upload a Excel sheet on Google Sheets or Microsoft 365, but still that's not the same. It still runs slow. It doesn't have the efficiency as a really built software that can really help you manage.
But those things came a little bit later. At the beginning, using only an Excel sheet based on your computer was everything that we had at the beginning. After a while, we figured out, hey, this is really actually dangerous to have the data only on one place. You have to have some kind of a backup. So what we did have some kind of a cloud where we had autosaves and backups in case something happens to your Excel sheet. And in terms that you mentioned, the transparency with your clients, we had to prepare that Excel sheet in order to send it to our clients. That means you cannot send the whole database because you have inside, for example, companies that you went through where you had some kind of a communication, and you still have inside the companies where you never touched them yet.
Yeah.
So you have to clean it up. You have to see the sheet with the KPIs that I mentioned.
It was a lot of work, yeah.
It was a lot of work. And in this case, today, from today's view, what we are doing, we are giving out, in case we are handling the CRM account, we are giving out login credentials to our client. Hey, this is it. This is for you. You can enter anytime you want. You have the real-time insight. You don't have to wait for our reports. You can go inside, you can read, you can see for yourself. You have everything with us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that because we had the experience of having a nice Excel sheet, a sophisticated Excel sheet. It was really an easy transition for us to go into something a bit better, a bit faster, something that you can really adapt to in a couple of days and learn how to use it. And basically you have everything in one spot, the reports, the contacts. You can send emails out of there. You can put all the notes you want into one place and export it again and send it over to your client. So that's
actually pretty good. What I would say today, the advantages the CRM, a real true CRM has is, first of all, I like the most some automation tools, which means I'm so happy we can connect, for example, some really simple stuff like email. You can connect your email. You don't have to switch between your CRM and your email provider in order to send out emails to your prospects. You can do everything from inside. This is some simple tool that is you're just taking that for granted, but it helps you a lot because you're making your work really faster. But on the other hand, you can also connect your CRM to various other tools. For example, analytics tool. Even though most of the CRMs, they do have integrated the analytics inside, you can create reports from inside CRM, but maybe for some more fancy, I would say, analytics, you can connect different things. That's also what we are doing, which is perfectly fine. And we are using the most out of it. But there are a lot of different tools you can connect. I find it really, really helpful.
Okay, when we set up a new project, we usually either get a login for a existing CRM tool that our clients are using, or on the other hand, we prepare a web-based CRM software for them to use. Today, there are still a lot of companies that don't have anything in use as far as a sales CRM is asked for. So they sometimes have kind of tools where they have their contacts, but you cannot really follow the sales process there.
Exactly, yeah.
What do you think is the biggest challenge there? Why don't they have something like that?
Well, it depends on the company. It depends. Sometimes some of our clients are startups, you know. There are sometimes companies that are from IT industry. There are engineers. They're not really into sales. They need our help. That's why they got us. They are in a cooperation with us. In those cases where you don't have the way to work on the leads from their side, you have to be the one to give out advice, to say, hey, I know this is my shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I will teach you how we are going to do that.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm going to create everything for you. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to show you how does it work. What is even a pipeline? Why do we have a pipeline that is set this way? Why do we track this? Why do we have different stages? And what does it mean for the sales process in general? And in which cases and which leads are going to end on your side? And what do you need to do? So in those cases, when somebody is inexperienced, don't have in those terms knowledge or maybe colleagues that can take over that part, we are here to help.
Yeah.
But sometimes also, on the other hand, you have some clients and partners that are huge. They do have their own sales team, but they don't have the time to do the cold calling outreach campaigns, you know? That's why they take us. They do have their own CRM, but sometimes it's not good for us, for our process, because we are doing pre-sales. We have our own way. We have our own stages that we are going through, that we are pushing the leads from completely cold to warm. Sometimes you just have to ask them whether or not they're able to create something new, a new pipeline for us that is suitable for our ways inside their CRM. Or if that's not possible, that's fine. We can create our own CRM. We can probably connect it to make some kind of automatization between two different CRMs. We do have some of that with our partners. For example, one of our partners connected our CRM with his CRM. Whenever one deal enters a meeting stage, it's automatically in his CRM, which is working perfectly.
Yeah. I think there are 3 types of clients as far as CRMs are concerned. The ones that don't have a CRM and just face the challenge of being too busy doing other stuff than setting up a CRM for themselves. So they're kind of afraid to set something up because they think they're going to mess it up and they're not going to use it properly.
Probably,
That happens often.
Yeah.
Then you have clients that already have a CRM in use. They use it for maybe months, years, but they're kind of not using it correctly or not exactly the way they should use it in our case. That's where we need to adapt or to need to find a new solution how to put up the sales process in a existing CRM. And there is a client that has a really good CRM, has a really good system, just doesn't have people who can do the pre-sales part. So
exactly.
That's the rarest client, I would say. But
it is,
that's a client where we can even maybe learn something from their process and where we just have to adapt a little bit. Do you agree?
Yes, definitely. I love all of the 3 types of the clients because they are bringing into a cooperation always something special. And it's not a relationship where you enter a relationship with a partner. It's always the same. It's never the same. This is what makes this job really exciting. And this third type of the customer that you mentioned, it's perfect when you have a partner that knows what they're doing. You can sit with them, you can discuss even deeper, you can exchange information, you can learn from their sales process. What are they doing that works so well for them? Even though in most of the cases, it's not the same industry. We are not helping other companies, same as OB2B, to gain new clients. We are helping mostly IT industry, packaging industries, logistics, etc., etc. But their way that they are doing their sales process can be really, really inspiring.
Okay. A really important thing in a CRM is lead hygiene.
Oh, yeah.
And you can always see the difference between the client that doesn't have a CRM. They basically are in the best spot as far as lead hygiene is concerned because they get new leads. They get us to do a clean job, to put everything in there, to be aware of having a job of really leaving a tidy CRM and putting all the information you get into it, which is an important job of a salesperson, but sometimes salespeople just don't follow those steps.
Exactly.
And that's why we have a problem with those who already have a CRM.
Sometimes,
where the lead hygiene is sometimes really bad.
Yeah. When you're working from the same CRM, so we are doing the pre-sales part, which is perfectly fine. We do have our own ways. If we are working from the client CRM, then we really have to adapt sometimes to their cases, which is fine. But then sometimes you have everything clean from your side. And then you set up a meeting for your partner. They take over, they do a meeting, they are doing follow-ups, but you cannot see that in CRM. And for example, they are running at the same time some marketing campaigns. And you receive as a salesperson an MQL. For example, that company was just attending the webinar of our clients. And we got the information, hey, this company that we were in contact a few months ago attended, and then you call because you thought, okay, maybe this is something interesting, maybe I can schedule a meeting. And they said, but we are already in a contact with this and this person. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Just because the lead hygiene is not good enough, that's the information that we are lacking. We didn't know that they're already in a contact. And this is driving us into situations we don't really want.
Yeah.
It's fine, we can handle that, but why? The lead hygiene is so important. It's really important because because of the data that you are entering inside, you can track your KPIs.
It's the essential function of a CRM.
Definitely. If you are lacking information, your numbers are not correct, you are probably going to enter into communication with some prospects. They are going to say to you, hey, you are smothering me because I said this and that, and you are getting sued. I don't know, something will happen because the lead hygiene is not good enough.
Yeah, that's the worst case scenario. If you have a lead somewhere where the lead hygiene is bad or not sufficient
or not existent,
but at least you have a contact. But in the end, then when you call them or email them and you really piss them off, that's like the worst case scenario. That's why lead hygiene should always be on a high level.
Definitely.
On the other side, still a worst case, maybe not the worst case, but a bad case scenario is when you have a lead who's already a client, but nobody really told you they are, or nowhere in the CRM you could possibly see whether he's a client or not. And then you call them.
But you're wasting your time because you're not going to call them, hey, this is the lead, I'm going to call them and everything is over in 3 minutes. You spent so many times to track them, to try to reach the right decision maker. You spent months working on that lead. And you finally get to the decision maker and he said, but hey, we're working for, I don't know, last half a year with you. What? I mean, that's the worst. You could have used that time for somebody else, for some other leads. But the way that you said, pissing your client off is the worst case scenario that can happen. In those situations where they say, hey, we are your client, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, my colleague didn't say that to me. I'm so happy to hear that. Is everything running well? Do you need anything? Since we are on the phone, you can make it a little bit funny. You can be, I don't know, cute over the phone. You don't make a scene out of it. But when you have a client that is pissed off, what to do in that case?
Yeah.
How to handle that situation? It's the worst, definitely the worst.
When you think of various CRM systems and the way they look and the way they function, is there a feature or something where you would say this is the first thing I think about when I think of a CRM tool that is good, and this is maybe something that's lacking in some other CRM tools? Or could you kind of say what would be the perfect CRM tool for you? What's the most important thing? Traceability, visibility, reporting, whatever comes to your mind.
For me, I'm a really visually driven person. So I love when a CRM...
You like pretty things.
Yes, I do love pretty things. I love when CRM has a beautiful view of the pipeline. So you can see everything at a first glance. You open your CRM, you can see, here are my leads that I never touched yet. Here are the leads that I'm still working on. I still have to do some follow-ups on them. Here are the leads that I made something out of them. So scheduled meeting, whatever the goal is. And then you get into the part when you can see the reports. Everything is in colors, everything is in bars or charts. You can see what things you can expect. You can see where you should work on.
Yeah.
I love that. Some of the CRMs doesn't have that solution. Everything is somehow mixed. Everything is somehow crazy. And you have to dig to get to the information. Doesn't mean they don't have that information. It's just so deep that you have to look for it. And different CRMs have different features. As I said at the beginning, sometimes you can use that for sales processes, sometimes for marketing processes, whatever your goal is. And it depends on how many people are using that CRM, not to mix the data, to handle the access, the ownership, etc. But for me, the visual part is the most important one.
Yeah.
You have CRMs that are like really bad. They don't have, I don't know, some kind of possibilities to do some kind of reports. They don't track the numbers. You have the CRMs that are so crazy you cannot find anything. But
yeah, I think I agree. I think it's the visual part. It's the easy working process that is provided by having a good first dashboard for the leads.
A good overview is really something that is important.
That's right. I'm not a fan of list view, because if you have a list, then you really don't know what the progress is. So like a Kanban board style of dashboard where you can see on a daily basis what you have to do and where the lead is going. That's kind of important.
Definitely.
So for sales, not for maybe something else, maybe for, I don't know, just having a client list where you work on every second week on, then you really probably don't even need something like this. But if you really have a sales task and you have a lot of clients that you have to work on, then I believe this is maybe the most important feature, which we didn't have in an Excel sheet, but we have now in our CRM.
We had actually the client list. And when you enter the list view in CRM, it's like a blast from the past. You can see all the companies inside. Some of them are probably red because they're lost. Some of them, you don't know what is happening, what to do, where are the activities, what do I have to do. In CRM, you have everything as you want it. You can see a good overview. You can see your pipeline. You have a little button for your next activities. You are here not to ever miss your opportunity to engage in a communication with your client. And I believe for CRMs and the lead hygiene and everything that it represent is the right timing.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you are tracking your leads as you should, then you will never be too late. If you leave your coffee on the table, it's going to be cold because you left it for so long. That's the same in the CRMs. If you leave it for too long, you are not doing a good lead hygiene. You're going to miss the opportunities and everything is going to go just.
Cold coffee is good for the skin.
Did
you know that?
That's why we look so pretty.
Yeah. Another feature which I would say is really important is that you can filter a lot of stuff in a good CRM system. So it's really helpful if you have to clean up some of your pipelines, if you just have to find some special leads, or if you just want to remove some duplicates or just see what's happening.
Exactly, yeah.
With some specific types of clients.
Exactly. I'm using that feature quite often. The last time I used it was when we, with one of our partners, decided not to call certain industry or certain type of companies. For example, in this case was, hey, we are not going to call companies that are under 1,000 employees anymore. So the easiest way to extract them and remove them from your working pipeline was just to create a filter. Okay, I need companies this and this size, bulk edit, gone to lost, over. So you're done in 5 minutes. You don't have to waste your time on basically anything.
Yeah. And a third feature, maybe that's most important to you?
For me, I would say first that I mentioned this possibility of connecting other tools.
Okay.
So it's important to see everything at one place. Today, when everything is, you don't have time for anything. Everybody is rushing. Everybody wants things right now, and to have a really good overview on what is happening on one deal is for me really important, and for the BDRs and everybody working in this industry to have everything in one place. So this is a feature that is most important for me, to be able to connect the tools. And of course, the CRM that has its own creation of reports, that's really helpful. But as I said, I'm going back to the connection because we are using some other tool for the numbers and everything that we are tracking. So it's not that important. And of course, the visual part, that it looks good, that is quite simple to use, that is understandable, not only for us, but also for our clients. As we said, we did have some clients that are not familiar with CRMs, but they are going to enter and say, hey, this is quite simple, I understand it. It's good that I can enter in one deal and read about what has happened. I'm really happy to see that you are taking notes of every conversation that you are having. So everything in combination is making a good CRM at the end.
Yeah. I would mention importing Made Easy by most of the CRM tools is crucial for us who are working with a lot of new contacts, and that you don't have to put in something manually, which doesn't happen anymore. But
thank God.
Sometimes that was a bit of a challenge in some of the CRMs we worked with.
Yeah, exactly. This is a feature that, you see, I'm taking that for granted.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's fine. I have my Excel sheet. I did my research. I'm just going to import that inside. I'm going to map everything together.
Yeah.
And I'm done. 5 minutes tops. I'm done. But yeah, you are completely right. Sometimes we did have to do things manually, and that was really a drag. Today, I really hate doing things manually, especially if I have to do some extra research, because it's important for me, for my colleagues, for my partner, you know? And then I'm like, oh, I really need like 2 or 3 hours just sitting and researching, manually Googling, which is quite crazy.
Yeah.
But I still do that. Not so often, but I still do.
Yeah. When we talk about the usage of CRM systems in our business, B2B cold calling, and the acquisition of new clients in any industry, but in the B2B world, what's the way you as a project manager structure your pipelines? Is it by importing or using people as the first point of contact, or a company being the main character, or like creating deals? What's the way you would suggest somebody who's starting to use a CRM tool, they want to acquire new leads in the B2B market?
Well, in my case, 100% of the time, I'm researching the companies. So this is something that is important for us in a partnership with our client to figure out the industry, maybe some other criteria also, like the size of the companies, the region where you wish the companies are from, etc., etc. So under some criterias. And we are always importing that as deals inside our CRM, which means one deal has the same name as the company we are targeting.
Can you do that with any CRM?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, you can have some kind of list of the companies that you're about to call in an Excel sheet still, as we did 7 years ago, you know? But it's harder because it's a list view. It is like, sometimes you are going to stumble upon, for example, on some company that is into a group, and you have to call inside that group 5 different daughter companies. What you're going to do? Are you going to split that in one Excel sheet? Are you going to track everything inside one box in Excel sheet? What you're going to do? But in CRM, you have so many different ways to handle that.
I think a lot of people do, or a lot of companies do a big mistake by importing leads or people from companies and working on them, because in the end, you really don't want to acquire a person, you want to acquire a company.
Exactly.
And different people have different positions in a company. And that creates, from what I've seen, a lot of mess in any CRM we worked with. Because the easiest way is always to start from a company, or if a CRM system allows it, create some kind of a deal where you can work with a company and a person simultaneously in that same deal.
Yeah.
As far as I know, a lot of CRMs we work with have those features, and that's kind of the easiest visual way for a BDR to work on a lead, with really focus on everything, company, people, and like the topic itself.
Yeah, that's true, because at one point you have everything in front of you. You have the name of the company, and let's say, okay, I have a solution that can be used by I don't know, research and development department, but also IT department on one company. But also I can call, for example, somebody from the production. So you have 3 touching points in one company. What you're going to do, you're not going to create 3 different deals for that because that makes confusion. You're always going to land probably on the same person on the front desk. You don't want to bother them. They're going to just say, okay, you're now calling too much. Goodbye,
Yeah.
But in one deal, you have the overview. What have you done? If you acquired some contact with one department, then you can go on to the other, etc., etc. So that's true. Under one company, under one deal, it's much, much easier rather than just switching between people, person, whatever, and lose your track of what have you done.
What's the main or the essential information that you need to import for a first cold calling campaign, something that you can never work without?
The information I need to import?
Yeah, when we're starting. Let's say we're starting a new campaign for a new client who doesn't have a CRM system, doesn't know what they even need to give us if they're providing the database or if we're creating a database. What are we going to import for them? What's the first steps?
Okay, after we decided on the criteria that I mentioned and we created a list of companies.
What kind of criteria? Something,
for example, specific? Company size, the industry that we are targeting. You have to determine the target group or the ICP, ideal client profile, to create a list. So based on that information, we are going to create a list of companies that fit. And now we have the next step. We have to import that with the information that we need from our position, as we are going to call them. Not many information for the start that we need. First of all, the name of the company, of course. Okay. Website, phone number. And more or less, that's it. Because you're going
LinkedIn page?
Sometimes, but these are the 3 main points that somebody that is working in sales needs to have. For example, I have these 3 points. What I'm going to do? I'm going to first go to the website to see, hey, let me make sure that this company is really a target group. Okay, fine. Okay, let's see. Let's find a number, for example, for the front desk. Let's find maybe this company on the website has the list of possible decision makers. Let's see that. Okay, I have a LinkedIn profile. Let's see if that company has a LinkedIn profile. I'm going to type the name of the company. I'm going to research for the right decision makers over there. And it's really not a lot is needed for you to create something good out of it. But in a business development, that is what is important. You can create a lot of it without having anything in front. You can create and research for yourself and still build something really, really good and collect a good data mining information for in our case, for our partners, in other cases, for your company. That's really important.
That's a thing that I often discuss with our new partners before starting a project. They're like, okay, what kind of information do you need? We have a database, but we're not sure if the decision makers are still the decision makers in those companies. Then I just tell them,
we don't need to double check that.
That's anyhow. Not the first information we need. We kind of really start blank. Cold calling means we start from the beginning. We start from the first touch point, which is usually the website.
Yeah.
There we can find a phone number. Then we go to LinkedIn where we can maybe find the right decision maker. If we cannot do that, we just do what we used to do. We're just going to call them and find out ourselves. And that's like more of a secondary information that we get. The decision maker.
Yeah.
Maybe what's their focus right now? Maybe they have some changes.
Exactly. What are
in the
pain
company
points?
Or whatever? Yeah.
You're not going to find that online. You're not going to Google a company and everywhere you can see the information. Hey, this company has problems with, I don't know, digitalization inside their production. You cannot find that information. You have to call. But on the other hand, you do have some tools today that can help you, which is fine.
Yeah, but that's basically the thing that you can only get from cold calling
Exactly.
those information. But then there is another really important thing that people have to bear in mind, that every CRM or almost every CRM you can customize.
Definitely,
so you can put whatever you want as an information that is needed into your CRM and just have like a little checklist where you put those things that you've came across during a call or during a research into the CRM system.
Exactly.
And in the end, after a cold calling campaign, you have a really, really strong database which you can work on for years if you want to.
The main thing about CRM, it's really secure. It really is, especially the ones that are, let's say, web-based, that have or good servers or whatever. We used to have Excel sheet. We had a problem. Hey, what will happen if I lose the data? If something happens with CRM, with our Excel sheet, everybody in this world had once upon a time a situation with Excel sheet when it's not responding.
Yeah.
And you just lose the data that you... What are you going to do? Today in CRMs, it holds so many information. You can work for years. We have partners that we are working together for more of 2 years right now. 2 years worth of calling companies is something really, really huge. Imagine that in an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. I mean, how to save that? But a good CRM really holds your information. You can always come back. You can always say, hey, let me go back to the companies that I've called in 2023 to see what is happening with them. Let me call that decision maker and to see with him, hey, how it's going. Last time we spoke 2 years ago or 1 year ago, you said you're implementing something right now. You don't have the time. It's not the right timing. And out of the blue, you have a new client because you had a good lead hygiene. You had a good CRM that holds that information inside.
Is there a tip you would give to somebody who starts or who is about to start using a CRM system or isn't sure whether they should or not? What is the first step to implementing a good system?
Well, I would say definitely with everything in this world, you have to do a little bit of research. It depends on what you are going to do. If you are going to use a CRM for marketing purposes or sales purposes or combined, there are a lot of different tools on the market. And the cost is different, of course. It depends on what you are searching for. When you find things, with all of them, I think you can have a test phase. Maybe try to test a little bit with the real data to see how it's going to work for you. For me, it's a visual thing. I have to see everything in front of myself. It has to be simple. The customization has to be simple and possible, of course. And for me, that is the biggest thing. But for the others, maybe that's not the case. I would definitely recommend to take maybe the biggest ones because they're the biggest ones for a reason. Test everything and see what works for you the best and the features that you need.
Would you rather suggest that they find an expert to help them implement a CRM or just learn using it by just doing?
That's also a thing that it depends, I would say, because for us, it works learning by doing. It worked for us because we don't have more than 100 employees that are going to use a CRM. We had, at that point, we had a smaller team. We had enough time to research, to find something that works for us, etc. But for some teams, it just doesn't work that way. You have to have an expert that will say, hey, you have your marketing team, you have your sales team, you want to everything have combined. You are not going to use, a free day for 50 people to sit and learn about the CRM. You have to have an expert to say, hey, I will create everything for you based on your needs. For example, we said we are not going to mention the names, but the most biggest ones, the CRMs in the world, are Salesforce and HubSpot. sometimes based on your company and how people are working and how many employees are going to use that, you're going to need an expert to set everything up for you.
I think it depends not on the people that will use it, but rather on the data that you already have and need to implement. If you have a lot of data, then it might be smart to hire an expert to help you with that.
I mean, you will.
But if you're starting from scratch, maybe you should just kind of buy one license and see where you're going with it.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Before we end this podcast, we have a little game that we want to play.
I love games.
So this game is called Would You Rather CRM Edition. And it was created especially for you. So the host gives 2 tough sales-related choices, the host being me, and the guest being you, must pick one.
Okay.
So I'm going to start. We have 5 choices for you, 5 sentences. So, or 5 questions. I'm starting with the first one.
What else?
What else? Would you rather lose all your CRM data or your top 3 clients?
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, this is the hard one. Well, I really do love my clients, I really love them. I don't want to lose them, so I would say I would rather lose CRM data.
But from other than the top 3 clients.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a really hard one. It's unfair one.
It's not fair. That's not a fair question because maybe some of the clients will be listening to this podcast. And if you say...
Please do.
If you say you'd rather lose your clients, that's not smart. Good. Well, on first place, you are a project manager, not a CRM seller.
Exactly. Maybe I did sound like one today.
Yeah. It's an important part of your job, so
exactly
it makes it more efficient. The second one, would you rather cold call 100 random people or manually enter 1,000 leads?
Oh man, when you say cold call people, that means like B2C calling
maybe
the old ladies and sell them knives or something like that.
I don't know. However you interpret it.
If it's 100 companies, then that would definitely be a choice. But if it's calling 100 private personas, then I would manually import 1,000 leads.
Good. Third one, would you rather have an outdated CRM or no CRM at all?
No CRM at all. We can do everything from Excel sheets. Do you know that we still have those old Excel sheets, like templates? We do have.
Okay.
So it's like a relic, but it's a choice for...
We have the old templates, that's right.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Would you rather use a CRM that's super slow or one that randomly deletes some of your leads?
Definitely the one that is super slow.
Okay.
Super slow CRM is better than the one that deletes leads.
Maybe the best ones, yeah. Okay, and the last one. Would you rather lose all your saved email templates or have to call every lead without seeing their history?
I will delete, not me deleting, but I will rather have deleted emails rather than not having the history with the leads.
Yeah.
I can figure out an email from my head. It's fine.
Yeah, you can do it from scratch each time. Okay. That's it. That was the episode on tools, on CRMs with Anamarija today. So thank you very much for being our guest. And
my pleasure.
Hopefully you'll come back one day with another tool or another topic.
Cold call me.
Yeah. That's it. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.